Hi there and welcome to Online Check-In, your regular guide to what's making news in travel on the web. I'm Carmen Roberts. Are you off on holiday soon, going somewhere new and don't know a soul at your destination? Well, what about hiring a local to show you around? Toursbylocals.com claims to connect you with your own private guide in over 100 countries around the world. All the guides are qualified and vetted beforehand. It's aimed at travellers, not tourists, who want an authentic local experience. You've got to admit there's nothing worse than the pitying look of a waiter saying a table just for one. So if you've not got any friends where you're going, now you can hire one. You can rent a local friend to show you around. Rates on this site vary depending on the guide and how much time you'd like. But tours are personalised and you'll never be called Nigel No Mates again. It might be a tall order to rent a local friend to climb a mountain or go bungee jumping, but if you're after that personal touch and looking for an adrenaline rush, then you'll find a trusted tour company on muchbetteradventures.com. The premise is to support local businesses who reward those who embrace ethical practices by rating companies according to their eco-values. The site gathers and vets independent adventure providers and sums up why they make the grade. Staying with outdoor pursuits, and if walking's what you want on a holiday, then cast your eye over walksaroundbritain.co.uk. This is the only walking website I know of that has instructional videos, with maps and difficulty ratings as well as tips for parking and public transport.
We start outside the Patterdale Hotel, through Side Farm and along the shores of Ullswater.
If you know a similar site that has a more international feel, then drop me a line. In fact, get in touch if you've seen anything interesting online, related to travel of course. The address is fasttrack@bbc.com. To more indulgent itineraries now, and if you like a tipple when you travel, then Wine Trail Traveller is worth a nose. The site claims to be a virtual vineyard visitor centre. There's a raft of reviews of wineries in North America, Italy and even the UK. But noticeably, France and Spain are missing from the list. Click on the Wine Simplified tab if you don't know your Shiraz from your Sauvignon Blanc, and there are maps and itineraries for you to plan your perfect vino vacation. Then you can cheers your friends back home in a photo and upload it to your favourite social networking site. But if you're hankering for a retro way to rub it in, then check out sendmypostcards.com. Upload your holiday snap, write your personal greeting, and then let it fly online. Your postcard will be winging its way to any far-flung corner of the globe for a flat fee. Tweet of the week time now, and Web in Travel has spotted what could possibly be one of the most bizarre competitions in the skies. Finnair has begun a worldwide search for the biggest Angry Birds fans to fly from Helsinki to Singapore on the 20th of September. The winners of the online competition will board an Angry Birds branded Airbus A340 and compete in the Angry Birds Asian Challenge at an altitude of 30,000 feet. Chirping mad! And finally, let me leave you with a video that's reminiscent of Where the Hell is Matt, but thankfully without the dorky dance moves. This is Rick, a filmmaker who's being commissioned by STA Travel Australia to condense 44 days, 11 countries, 18 flights and 38,000 miles into 3 short films. Here's a clip from one of them. Enjoy, see you next time.
Thanks, Carmen. One of the really striking things about New York is its musical heritage. Broadway is a massive attraction, of course, and musicians as varied as George Gershwin, the Velvet Underground, and 50 Cent come from various parts of the city. And let's face it, everyone has to start somewhere. So eyebrows were raised recently when signs went up in Central Park saying buskers were banned. Keith Wallace has been finding out why, according to the authorities, silence is golden.
This all used to be swamps and rocky outcrops. Some of the poorest people in New York City used to live here in Central Park. Irish pig farmers were in whole shanty towns with their smelly old livestock. So it's nice that they cleaned it up. Now, of course, part of the reason to come to New York City in the first place is all the fun and noise and life that's here. Go to pretty much anywhere in Manhattan and you'll see people yelling at each other, taxis beeping their horns. So that's why a place like this is necessary, where you can come and have a bit of peace. Excuse me, can you just keep it down just for 1 minute, please? And that's just the problem. If you go anywhere near the iconic Bethesda Terrace fountain or tunnel, you'll notice it's a favourite stomping ground for jobbing musicians. They've even drawn up their own rotas, so they're not all playing at once. They like the acoustics of all that stone, and of course, the tourist footfall generates a nice bit of revenue.
People come here to hear the music. They walk down and listen to us play, and they're like, this is the reason I came here. We heard about the music here, we heard about the fantastic performers. Central Park advertises the performers at Bethesda Fountain. It's on their website.
Meredith plays here with her band Non-Such every Sunday, but not so long ago signs were put up around the park telling them their kind were no longer welcome. And as luck would have it, the signs went up right on their favourite spot.
Our main question is, why this space? I mean, what's so special? Why does this space all of a sudden, why can they not? It's a public space, it's still a public space. Why can they not allow the public to do something that is reasonable?
But the band plays on for now. In fact, all the bands are playing on every Sunday. Often they get asked to leave. The musicians claim one man's even been arrested.
So what? What does that mean? We can't film the trio.
Fine, we'll do the trio. Fine, we'll do that.
And it's causing frayed nerves.
What you sometimes have is competing, kind of like battle of the bands. So you have 3 or 4 or 5 different people playing music kind of, and it just becomes noise at that point in time. So I agree. I mean, this is obviously a place that people would want to play, but it's also a very nice place for people to have some quiet.
There's a lot of jazz musicians, folk, classical, rock. There's a guy who plays the ukulele, which is atrocious, but he's even fun to look at. So it's part of the city. There's the charm, the ambiance.
And as with many disagreements in this city, it's all ending with legal action. The musicians now have a lawyer acting on their behalf. The Central Park authorities won't be intimidated, though.
We have set aside a little bit less than 5% of the park as places where you can't make loud noise. And we don't think that's a terrible thing. In fact, people seem to love it. And the buskers still have plenty of room in this park and in many other parks to do their thing. They just don't want to be inconvenienced. So they raise a big ruckus and say their First Amendment rights are being trampled on, but it's a perfectly acceptable thing. We've been doing it for now more than 25 years.
Most of the park is either these fenced off grassy areas where you're not allowed to play or even sit, or it's wooded pathways, and there just isn't the foot traffic or the acoustics for musicians to play. I mean, sure, you can play outside anywhere you want in the park, but if you're trying to make a little money or trying to get exposure as a musician, you're gonna play where the crowds are.
Both sides are sitting down and talking about this and trying to avoid a situation where it all ends up in a courtroom. But there's still a stalemate as things stand. Maybe things were just more tranquil in the old days, when all this was shanty towns and pigs.
Keith Wallace trying and failing to find some harmony amongst New York's busking community. And that's it for this week. Do try and join us again next time, when Rajan will be looking at the clash between old Italian traditions and new money in Tuscany.
Now this is a story about power, wealth and pride.
In the meantime, if you're in need of another fast-track fix or a delve into our archive, why not head to our website at bbc.com/fasttrack or check out bbc.com/travel, where this weekend you can read about going on a shopping trip through the Holy Land and discover some of London's alternative museums. But from me, Fiona Foster, and the rest of the team here in New York City, wherever your travels take you next, have fun and goodbye.